Hi, this is Gail. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to go on and do another double page spread in the Staggered Hummingbird journal. So let's refresh. Here's our cover. The first double page spread. The second double page spread that we're going to be working on today. Now you will notice it's done already here in the journal. And this is the new one that we're working on. Well, that's because there was a little issue. I recorded this whole thing, about an hour's worth, and yeah, it hadn't really recorded. So we're going to have to do it again. So I made some fake pages, just the 2-page spread. And I'm going to be doing it in that. So perhaps I'll end up deciding I want to make a third hummingbird journal, but we'll see. So let's get started. We'll do this page. So I have everything here, and I'm going to try to keep it all together. I'm going to put all these little tiny bits up here out of the way and only have what I need for this page, which is this, and this, and this. And I'm going to need one whale tail tab. Okay, and we want to make sure we don't cut into, the wrong piece of manila folder. So now, if you don't have whale tail punches, again, what you can do is, if you have one of the square or more rectangular punches, use that. Don't have that, you can use a circle, cut out a circle, fold it over, and use that. Or maybe you'd like to use some ribbon or some lace or some other kind of trim to stick off of it. Or hey, maybe you don't want any kind of tab at all. That's cool too. One of the things I did to save time is I went ahead and distressed everything. And the first thing that we have to do here is we need to put down our bottom piece. Now, I did go ahead and cut this bottom piece to fit, but I only had to cut off maybe a ½ inch. And if you do not have this piece, which is from the Lavender Hues collection by Caroline, then you could use some other piece. Maybe you just want some coffee stained paper, because it is basically going to be covered up. I chose this because it does have the pretty flowers that will match with the flowers in this piece here. And okay, so as you can see, I have cut it leaving a fraction on either side, and we're going to get started and glue this in. Okay, I hope the lighting will work okay this time. Oh, there it goes. Didn't think it was going to spray, so I got a little heavy-handed there. Not spray, but you know what I mean. Come out very easily. Yeah, I'm liking this little needle nose bottle here. Really does make for better control when you're gluing, so you don't waste and you don't ooze all over the place. Of course, oozing I can manage to do no matter what. That's just me. Okay, now I'm going to try to be equidistant from the top and the bottom, as well as on the sides. And you have to be careful with this, because with this art glitter glue, you don't have much time. It sets up pretty quickly. Okay, now we have these little pieces. These are going to form our tucks on the side. Now, when we put these on, we want to be careful. We only want to put glue top and bottom because we want it to be an open pocket and make it easy for our card to slide in and out. Now, yes, this is a tad shorter than the whole bottom piece, but that's okay. Not a biggie. Okay, gonna do the top and the bottom. Hope everybody's having a great day. It's a pretty day here. It was very pleasant. I sat outside and talked to my daughter on the phone and had a cup of coffee. Ugh, just so pretty out. Okay, second one. This page is really an easy page. I changed my lighting so that it wouldn't create as much glare, but it's a little harder for me to see. So just love these little bookmark type that we're using as tucks here. Okay, now with this, again, I went ahead, cut it out, distressed it, and this is going to be backed with some file folder here. So what I'm going to do is glue it down first. So my daughter said that she and my grandson are going to come for a visit. So this will be the first time coming and staying and spending the night since March. Actually, since April. So I am looking forward to that. We always have fun. He likes to help me cook, so maybe we'll make some brownies together and play outside in the yard. He loves the water, so if I can find something he can water while he's here, he'll be in heaven. Okay, trimming this right off. And I do think I'm going to round the edges as well. Looks like I have a little, just a little bit here that I want to get off. Okay. So I always save my little bits and pieces. You never know when you might need them. Okay, and my corner chomper, yeah, is right here. Oopsie. This is the one that I use. I'm going to go 1/4 inch. It seems like things slide in and out of pockets and tucks if the corners are rounded. It could just be me, but that's how it feels. Okay, now that means I am going to have to do just a little bit of distressing. This was right in front of me and I didn't see it. What in the world? Okay, and I'm going to go and hit this back edge just a hair. Really doesn't show. Now the back can be used for a journaling card, so that's pretty cool. Okay, and here's our tab, and again, like I said, lace, ribbon, any kind of trim, square tab, circle folded over, all ideas for tabs. Now, the only bad thing is we're going to cover up a little bit of our rows over here, and I'm just eyeballing it to get it on there straight. Okay. All right, so let's test it out and see how we did. Sometimes we get a little heavy-handed with our glue and don't always get it under here. Now, if you wanted to, you could print off these little bookmarks in a heavier paper, more like a cardstock, something a little sturdier. But I don't figure I'm going to be overusing this, so for some reason, there we go. Hopefully that'll take care of it. It's hanging up. Oh, it's hanging up underneath here too, where the, there we go. The tab is hanging up. Okay. So there we go. Little journaling card in there. Now for over here. This is the interesting part. Now, here I had used a, yes, a recycled envelope. Actually in the original. Let me show you the original. This is a recycled envelope, okay? And I went looking for another recycled envelope, the same size window and whatever, same placement. Yeah, couldn't find one. So I ended up making an envelope for this one. And you know what? I thought that might be kind of a good thing to do together because, yeah, super easy, but maybe you've never made one. So I just am using a piece of copy paper here. And all I really need to know is how much I need to fold over to make the envelope. And so I will measure in a minute because I know some of you prefer to have things measured, and I get that. But if you fold this over nice and neat, you don't really need to measure. But okay, so here's how deep you want it, or tall, if you will. We want it to be there. Where's my one at? Okie dokie. That is about 4 1/4. 4 1/4 tall. And how long do we want it? Well, we want it to be about 5 3/4. Okay, so 5 3/4. I don't know what I got on that, but doesn't matter. Oh, it looks like distressing. It's going to be covered up anyhow. So 5 3/4. 5 3/4. Just to give me a little something to line up against so I can cut. And There we go. So, now obviously I do have an all-in-one and I could be cutting using that right now. Just as easy to sit here and do the scissors for this little bit for me. You do what floats your boat. Okay, save that scrap. Now, here's the interesting part. Got to thinking about this a little bit ago. With this, the window isn't exactly in the center. And that's because the original was an envelope, and I tried to mirror that envelope when we made our envelope before, but I thought, why don't we make it really easy for ourselves and put this window actually in the center, and things will line up better. So, half of 5 and 5 3/4 would place it at what, 2 3/4? Pretty close to 2 3/4. Okay. Let's see. 5 3/4, 23/4, 2, 1, 1. Yeah. So 4. Yep, 2 3/4. Okay, so 2 3/4 would be midway. And our window here is 3 1/2. Okay, so we want to straddle that across our 2 3/4. So find the center here. 2 3/4 is here, and we have 3 1/2. Actually, our picture is big enough, we should make it 4. God, that would make the math so much easier. Let's do that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, then how far do we really want it from the bottom? Let's see. We could put that smack dab in the bottom. Actually, we want to leave a little bit at the top, so 4. So 2 inches is going to be our midway point. Let me get the picture. Here is our picture. And it doesn't have to be, but it's 3 1/2. But we could, okay, let's see. Let's go 1 3/4 about here, and line that up here. Now, obviously there are other things that you can do with this, like you could, instead of tracing around it and cutting it, you could use a die cut if you had one that size, whatever works, right? Now, I don't really want my window cut that big. I kind of want to cut inside this about 1/4 of an inch, so that way I don't have to worry about anything getting cut off. You know what I mean. This way, nothing's going to hang, no white space is going to hang through. So I'm just going to kind of do that so that I have some idea when I cut. Okie dokie. So, and I don't really care. This is just white paper. Don't really care about it. Okay. So I'm not going to worry about saving it. I'm going to dig right in. And this doesn't have to be. It's a junk journal, remember. Things really don't have to be perfect. Okay. Here we go. And the other thing is I'm going to turn this inside out so you won't see any of my pencil marks on the inside. Okay, gone and gone. So now I have this. And turn it over and we're going to be good to go. Okay, whoa. How did I do that? That's a little crooked. I guess I better even that up a hair, huh? Okie dokie. There. See? All better. And it's a little off over here. Okay. See, once I start, that's my trouble. And I can't stop trying to make everything perfect. And honestly, it doesn't have to be, because we're going to have flowers and things on the one corner. And if it's off, it isn't even going to show, but okay. So, all right, good enough. Stop. Okay. So here we have this. Now, the next thing we have to do is cut down our page to fit on here, which it fits perfectly, but we need our window, don't we? So, I'm going to move these things out of the way. And yeah, let's do it this way. Make sure this is lined up all nice and neat. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is, yep, trace it. And again, even if it's off, it's not going to make a huge difference. Now this I might kind of want to save coming out of here. So perhaps what I ought to do is use this to cut. Okay, there's a mat underneath here, so I'm not going to be cutting into anything. So don't sweat it. Okay. Okay. As you might have guessed, math is not my bag. Don't like calculating things. Okay, how'd we do? All right, so we have this little piece. Save it, never know. Okay, so now we have our window, like so. We're gonna glue that on. Okay. Now, before we do that, let's put our acetate in. Now, I used the packaging from like this stuff on top of a package like this. I have tons of overhead transparencies because I was a teacher, and when we quit using them, I hung on to mine thinking I'll find a use for them, which of course I did. However, oops, I cut that too short now. Okay, however, I don't like it as well as I do this stuff. So, I'm just going to real quick cut off a piece of this. I really don't want it so wide that it sticks out a ton, because if it does, then anything you're sliding in and out of that pocket catches on it. This again does not have to be perfect. I have 2 layers here, so I want to cut it down to 1. Feel free to use whatever you like the best, but as I said, I kind of like this. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I am going to glue around the outside, leaving a good amount of space, because I really don't want the glue to leak into my acetate. Okay? You set that stuff down and then you can't find it anywhere. It gets lost. Okay. And we'll let that set up. Okay. Now I'm going to come back over here and I want to glue this down. Okay. Easy peasy. I really think doing it this way almost is easier than taking a recycled envelope and trying to cut around that window unless you take the envelope apart to get to that window. It's a little awkward. Unless you just really don't care how accurate things are around the window. Oops, hold that up. Okay. So, alrighty then. And again, remember with art glitter glue, you don't have a ton of time to get it right. Pretty good. It's really hard to get it perfect with that art glitter glue. And then with that window that size, it kind of stretches a little bit, right? Okay, so now, what did I do here? Well, oh, I see, it kind of bubbled a little bit. But you know, it doesn't really matter because before we do anything else, we are going to distress. And when we distress, that's really not going to show. Okay. But again, Caroline did a great job of distressing around the edges of the papers. So you could get away with not even having to do that in all honesty. But, okay. And the back's going to be glued down, so it won't matter. Okay? So, it's kind of nice to leave this unglued on the sides until you get your card made. So, that's our next issue. Okay, so for the card, we want to back it, first of all, with some of the craft cardstock or manila folder, or maybe you want to just use tea or coffee stain paper, whatever cardstock maybe, I don't know. Whatever you want to use, you go for. this on here. This is great as a journaling card because don't know how well you can see it, but there are light lines on this. Perfect for when you're wanting to write. You can see it well enough to write, but it's not overwhelmed by lines. So that isn't your main focus. What you see really mostly is, oh, looks like coffee dyed or distressed or aged paper. Okay. Good to go. Oh, might be a little sliver here. Really isn't super important to be perfect, is it? Okay, saving my little pieces. Want to go back now and distress around the back. I've already distressed the front. Now, if I'd paid more attention, I should have glued over top of that, but I didn't. So don't make my mistakes, okay? Now, before we do anything else, we kind of want to decorate this because, as you can see in the original card, I have some stamping. No, actually, it looks like the stamping was done after the carte postale was put on. So let's do that first. You'll notice that it's not the whole carte postale because this is a bigger version. But what I found was I liked the bigger version better peeking through the window because the bird was so pretty. See what I mean? It's just so pretty. And I want to see as much of it as I can. So, yeah, really pretty. Okay, so now I have to get my little postcard in there. Okay, that's in there. And now we want to line that up. Okie dokie. And I feel like that's where we want it. And I don't feel like this got distressed somehow, so let's distress it just to be safe. Nope, I don't think I got to it. I think I was thinking I would cut it down some more, but I'm fine with it where it is. If you want to cut it down some more, feel free, but I'm okay with it the way it is. Okay, so make sure the card is in there and down all the way. Put this in. And where is my glue stick? Well, I don't know where my other one is, but just to hold this down for a minute for me to glue, I'm going to use my glue stick. So I feel like it's off a little, maybe. Yeah, I think that will work. Okay, do that for a second. Pull this out because I don't want to get that all messed up. And there's no reason why I can't finish with the glue stick, I suppose. So let's do that. Kind of doing things a little backwards here, but hey, I want to make sure it's in there nicely. Okay. Looks like I still got it a little crooked on the bottom, but I think that will do perfectly. And now I want to do some stamping. Threads. Goodness gracious, I've been saving my threads because I want to try to make some handmade paper. Now, this doesn't have to be perfect. We don't really want the full impression of the stamp on there. We just want hints of it here and there, right? And it's okay if it kind of extends over into the postcard part. Just a little. Okay, what do you think? I want a little bit right there, if I've got any left on here. Yep, there we go. Okay, so now we just need to add our tab, which I've already distressed. I'm just going to eyeball where the center is to put it on. And you can see why eyeballing isn't always the perfect way to go, but I'm not worried about perfect, am I? No. Okay. I think that'll do. Okay, now and I just had a thought. I do have them occasionally, and I think I really need to cut down on the edges and then redistress, and then maybe do a little bit of rounding of the edges because I did not allow for the gluing on the sides of the envelope, right? And when you glue that envelope, you're going to end up with, yeah, let's cut this one off just a little bit more. Okay, get rid of that corner chop, and then we'll redistress on the edges. 1/4 inches up. Okay. Now redistress. Okay. So now let's see how we're doing. What do we think? I think that left enough of an edge. So I think before I put it in and glue it down inside the journal, I'm going to come along here and just do a little bead of glue, trying to keep it close to that edge. Okay. Once I get it glued in, then I'll decorate the front of the envelope. Okay. Okay. Now, whoop, 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 looking good. Okay, so I'm gonna pull it out for right now. And there's this and this. And what else do we have to do on this? Aha! We need to put on our little tags. Okay, and I'll show you the different ones that I have made. So, in our original, the little dangly, whoops, let's go back over here. Oh, that's why it's over here. It is this little teensy rectangular tag, little picture of birds, and little teensy piece of cheesecloth, right? Okay, so that was our original. And notice our decorations down here, which we've yet to do. Okay, then when I did this journal, I had this little tag already done with an adorable picture. And there was a piece of, it's almost like a burlap tag. And then I put some little pieces of, it looks like frayed burlap in there to kind of make it look kind of like a bird's nest. Okay. So now what I thought about doing, and I've already distressed this, is I made this little short stubby, taking one of the pictures from Caroline's DigiKit and cutting that and putting it on. And then on the back, one of the little tiny quotes, "With brave wings she flew." Okay, so we can dangle that. Or I have one of the tiny little circle embellishments from her kit, and I put that on the craft paper and punched a hole, and we can dangle that. So we could do either one, but I'm kind of liking this one, I think, because it's a little smaller. So now for the real fun, I always struggle with getting, I want to use this teensy tiny one, but I always struggle when I do this, getting it in the exact place that I want it. It's kind of hard to see. Well, that worked out pretty well actually that time. Doesn't always. And I am looking for there, we'll try that eyelet. I guess it really doesn't even need an eyelet, to be honest. Maybe I won't use an eyelet. I think it's fine without an eyelet. It's not something I'm going to be playing with a lot, and I think we're just going to not put an eyelet in there, and we'll just put this in, and we'll make it less bulky. That's the one thing I did notice, is that this manila folder journal gets kind of bulky when you put dangles in. Oh, I like that. And then the coloration of the hummingbirds goes with this maybe better than the other little tag I had made. So very cool. All right, so that part is done. Now we shall glue this down. What do you think? All right. Okay. For this, I'm going to use the art glitter glue. Yes, I could leave this open and have yet another pocket, but this little journal is kind of bulky already with the manila folder, so I'm not going to do that. I am going to glue it all the way down. You do what you feel comfortable with, but okay. Eyeballing it to get it equidistant top and bottom. Bam. Now, when we put our tag in, that's going to cover this up. So don't sweat that. Okay? Alrighty, so I've already distressed all these pieces here to save time. So all we have to do is glue them down. And I will start with the pink. Teensy tiny little pieces. So hard. I'm going to cut that off when I'm done and cut off the other piece, the other flower at the bottom as well. So, oopsie, a little bit too much there. Yes, it was so frustrating yesterday to work so long and then have it not be there when I finished. It showed the final picture, you know, at the very end, but nothing played. So I'm not real sure what happened. Yeah, it's probably user error. I probably thought that I had pushed record hard enough and hadn't. I am far from a perfectionist, as we all know. Okay. Like I said, that just sort of, I mean, I am a perfectionist, but I don't do things perfectly. Let's put it that way, okay? And just gonna cut that off. Now I get my butterfly ready. And then we'll talk about what you will need the next time. There's a lot to the next one. We may have to do that tutorial in 2 parts because there's an envelope that alone will probably take a while unless I just have you refer to my tutorial on making the Edith Holden envelopes. Okay. Now I didn't put any bling on that. Again, I was trying not to bulk up the journal too much. Okay, so let's put this in. Okay. Yeah, I kind of like that. I almost feel like that turned out better than the last one. Super, even though it kind of didn't look like it was headed that way, because, you know, I'm so not real good with calculating things, but really like the little circular tag. So here, let's compare so you can decide which one you like better. These pages are pretty much the same, but here's this one with the circular tag. And here's this one with this tag. And here's the original with this little tag. What do you think? Each one similar, but a little bit different. Okay, so now let me show you what we have for next time so you can have everything printed off and ready. This page over here is easy peasy, okay? This one's pretty complicated and time consuming, I will tell you that. So over here, you need 2 copies of this Hummingbird page, and that's done 2 to a page, so easy peasy. Then you're going to need one of the pages that's very lightly lined and has little flowers. Okay, so you're going to need one of those to back your first page. Then, again, you know, 2 to a page. You're going to use these little envelopes. So look for these envelopes and their matching journaling cards. So this envelope has this journaling card, and this envelope has this journaling card. Okay, so you're going to want those. And that's that page. Now, I did use a sewing machine. If you don't want to use a sewing machine, that's fine too. But you will need a sewing machine if you are deciding to sew. Okay, over here we have this envelope to make, but first you want this page, okay, the half page for this design. This is actually one of the bookmarks, and obviously you see very little of it behind. So pick whichever one you like the best, and that's at full size. Then there's the quote, with brave wings she flew, and that I think is like half size. You have this teensy tiny little journaling card, which is for sure half size. Then you have 1, 2, 3, those little circles, and those are definitely half size. Then, and also I glossy accented them. So you can do that, or you can use embossing powder and emboss them if you prefer. Whatever you want to do, or maybe you don't want to do them at all. Okay. Now, on top of the bookmark is some of this netting. It's just a sort of a glittery netting. You don't have to use that, but I did. And then, of course, I used this leaf trim, okay, which you can get just about anywhere. And, well, Hobby Lobby, I know for sure. I bought mine online. So that, you're going to need some seed beads, some teensy tiny little buttons to kind of match the colors in your hummingbirds. And also, you're going to want to print out enough of the papers to do some fussing cutting of hummingbirds. Now what, I have 4 here that I fussy cut out. This is just another little piece of trim. You know, decorate how you wish. Then I have a bulb pin, and I have an embellishment that says love. I know I don't have any more of those, so I'll be using a different little charm. Okay, so that's that piece. Then we have the envelope that we are going to make using Edith Holden page. Now, if you don't have this, you can use another book page. This happens to be in the back of the Edith Holden books, kind of like in an index part. I just love the handwriting, so, and it's very heavy paper. So that will form the envelope with tracing paper glued and then sewn on. And this is the full size of this page, and I did 2. And the reason I did 2 on tracing paper, you could do it on onion skin as well, but I wanted on the front to have this portion, and then on the back I want the bottom portion. And unless you want things to be kind of cockeyed or upside down or sideways, whoops, this way I guess, then you'll need 2 copies, okay? And again, a sewing machine if you want to sew. You don't have to, but that's what I did. Okay, now let me show you what else you'll need. So the tracing paper, some trims. I have 2 different trims here that I've used. This also was like something stamped. There were birds and words stamped on some fabric. And then I, of course, ruffled it and put another trim underneath. These are actually brads. So you could use buttons. You could make your own little circular type tabs to put on and then wrap your twine or ribbon or baker's twine, whatever, around it. I obviously don't have another one of these. This is something that came from a thrift shop, so I will have to look for something too. Probably baker's twine, or even wax thread would work, or embroidery thread, or whatever. Now on this side, you'll see that I printed the neither the hummingbird nor the flower wonder how beautiful it is quote, and I believe that's at a half size, it might be full. This, of course, is not from Caroline's kit, but it's a label that I found somewhere, so maybe a label. I made a stamp out of a picture, a hummingbird picture, and you can do the same. Like, for instance, this would make a really cute stamp on it. If you just, instead of cutting it out square, use pinking shears or designer cutting shears around it. And then this is a stamp that makes it look like it's been posted. So those items, all or none, you can use. Now, I did do a cutesy design here at the top with my sewing machine, which you may or may not be able to see, but I just thought that was really pretty there at that edge. Then, the next thing you'll need, I made a little booklet for some more journaling. So, let me show you this way. This is just strictly sewed right down the center with a machine. So you're going to need, these are all done on the half page, this page, this page. This is upside down, of course, of course. Okay, so this page, and then of course the pretty rose page, and then this page, and this page. Now, what I did with these was I printed them back to back so that I had a little writing page with the flowers on it so that you could write and have some lines. You could use coffee dyed or tea dyed paper, or not even back it with anything. It's up to you. And the cover, I used 2 separate sheets of paper and sewed it together. I think I was having trouble getting my printer to print them back to back correctly. So what happened was, that's why I have trim here, because they wouldn't line up properly, and I ended up with about a 1/4 inch gap on every single page where you could see where the printing ended. So I thought, well, we'll do a little camo, and so I used some trim there. Ooh, and I need to get rid of that. And wonderful thing to get rid of when you have glue like that is this eraser. I don't know if you can see, and it might take a bit of rubbing now because that glue has set in. But anyhow, this will take all of that off, and I will be working on that because I don't like that. Okay, so anyhow, that's why I have this trim down here. Although it's kind of decorative and it looks cute, so I'm okay with that. So then we have that little booklet for extra journaling space to go inside. Okay, so that's what's next time. And I am already thinking that's going to be an awful lot to do in one sitting and not have a 2 or 3 hour long tutorial. So I may start with, first of all, doing this page and then laying the foundation here, maybe going into this, but this I think is probably going to be a separate tutorial, but again, we shall see, right? Okay, so that's where we're at. Thank you for joining me today. Sorry it took so long, but hopefully you gained some knowledge and enjoyed it. And it's because of you that I do this. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know. In case you noticed on the last video, it was brought to my attention that some of the links weren't working. So I did get those fixed for you. Don't know why that happened, although I've been having some computer problems here. It's just shutting down in the middle of things. I don't know why, but it is. So anyhow, my son's going to look at it this weekend for me. But hopefully everything will go well with this video, and I'll make sure my links work. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for coming over, taking a look at what I do. I hope you are inspired and you learn from it. And again, coming up soon, there will be a giveaway. So thanks. Get out there and make something. Go create. Bye-bye.